every time I was talking about it, every time when I was thinking about that, I was like, every time I'm on No Jumper now, I'm thinking, what does he think about him getting pressed or him saying something behind her back? And it felt like it was like Real World. I'm like, this is like a show on Zeus.
No, that because that's what you would want to grasp. Everybody grasps to negative shit. You grasp to negativity, but 90% of our shows and 90% of the content that we did was just original with no drama at all. But when we did have drama, that's what people would gravitate to. You feel me? And then they would clip it up. I don't make clips. I don't, you know what I'm saying? If you don't want people to know the drama, don't create the clips. Don't create the content. You know what I'm saying? Don't put it out there. Like, we didn't do any of that. So if I see, nine times out of 10, I was looking from the outside in like you guys. Because once I leave that fucking building, I'm going home to my fucking kids. So I come back, you know what I'm saying? And be like, okay, so what happened today? All right, good. We got something to talk about. You know what I'm saying? So that's all it was for me with content, just like y'all. But 90% of the time, like, we weren't just dwelling on inside and internal drama. Like, fuck out of here. We ain't, you know what I'm saying? We wasn't doing that shit. But when we were, it was kind of crazy, I'll admit. But, you know what I'm saying? It was kind of crazy. But, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, 90% of the time, we were doing great content and speaking amongst each other, you know what I'm saying?
But what makes it any different? I mean, as content creators, everybody is covering other people's shit anyway. Something happens in hip hop, people are covering hip hop. Something happens somewhere else, like Act. You do the same exact thing. People say, "Hey, Act, react to this shit." You pull up what people want you to see. You be like, "All right, fuck it." That's the same shit we do.
Well, 80, I'm not talking about like what y'all doing on y'all streams. I was talking about the work environment, right? Like, again, I think y'all are. Let me tell you this: the majority of corporate America. Like, Van called me one day and we talked about it. He said, you know the reason I got fired from TMZ? He said, the guy that I put my hand around his like neck, that's my friend. Like, we're cool. We joked about it afterwards. But to everybody else in the office, it looked like, damn, big black guy threatening white guy. I don't want to work with him anymore. Like, a lot of people are not used to confrontation in an office setting. So, again, I'm not saying nothing about reacting to stuff, but there was a time that I felt that Flacco probably felt like scared. I felt other people might have been like kind of on edge. You know what I mean? Shit, I don't know how Lush felt when, even though it was Flacco, but he was like, yo, niggas like, yo, let's go outside. It's like, that's not what people expect in a work environment. Like, yo, let's go fight outside real quick. That's just not what people expect.
That shit hella threw me off. And the fact that it was seemingly acceptable in that context, that threw me off even more. I was like, what the fuck?
But you gotta understand why you gotta understand why it happened. It happened because Adam told you to dive in on the nigga. You took it a step further. Blocko felt embarrassed and he had to handle himself. He was hanging around some Crips that said, whoop that nigga Lush ass.
I ain't mad at Flacco. I ain't mad at Flacco regardless, though. The fact is, you ain't supposed to, that's not a professional thing to have happen at a work environment.
But it's also not professional.
He wasn't supposed to expose that nigga either.
It's not professional to call his old school and his school teachers and classmates and try to expose the nigga. So we can't sit there and say
that whole shit was Adam's fault though. Let's keep it a stack.
100%.
Bro, AD, did you listen to Adam literally even said last night, and I had never even put him on blast for this. He said it himself. He's the one that told me to call the classmates and do all that shit. He literally admitted that.
Lush, you older than Adam, bro. Can't no other man tell me to do some shit that's gonna do that. Like, nigga, if I'd have been like, no, I ain't doing that. That's going too far. You went wrong.
I'm not justifying me doing that shit regardless, but
hold on, let me tell you. We all agree what's unprofessional on camera, what's not supposed to be done, you know what I'm saying, on camera. Lush, what was done to you was unprofessional, correct? What was done to you was unprofessional.
Hell.
Okay, so who's the owner of the company?
Shit, 22.
Okay, so 16. Like I just said, feel me? Like that, you know what I'm saying? It's come from your leader, dog. Like, we not doing this shit. We don't do that shit on camera. We don't do none of that shit. We don't release this shit. We don't make clips. We not in control of any of this shit. Like that shit comes from your leader, dog. Like we don't do none of that shit. I don't run Reddits. I don't run Discords. I don't do any of that shit. I just come and speak. So don't blame none of that shit on us. You know what I'm saying? Like when that shit happened with Kelpie, hey, look, when that shit happened with Kelpie, that shit was a secret. That shit was a secret. Nobody knew about that.
Wait, we saw the video. Kelpie
and Kelpie and Almighty was the only niggas who knew about that. You didn't have to put that out. You didn't have to put that content out, dog. We didn't have to clip that up. We didn't have to talk about that. We didn't have to do shit. As a matter of fact, Kelpie got a contract before me.